Hello, 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 everybody. So we're just gonna give it a minute. All right, just setting up. How's everybody doing today? Is everybody feeling a little bit heavy? I know that the energy last night, at least for me and those in my home, was pretty heavy. Is anybody else feeling that heavy energy? All right, let's see. Good stuff. So I'm just setting up. So if you guys are just tuning in, welcome. As usual, if we can get those algorithms going, if you can get those likes and those hearts going on Facebook, it's going to let Facebook know that you guys are interested, and we want to get this video out to as many people that are interested in crystals. For all the mommies and daddies that have children, and you guys happen to love crystals as much as I do, and you like to know how we can use our crystals to work with them and our children, please get those buttons going and we can get the algorithm going for that as well. If you are tuning in and you're rewatching this video later, if you can put a little replay, that would be awesome. I really love knowing that people are connecting and they want to know more about crystals and how we can use them in our day-to-day, everyday lives. So we're just going to give it a couple more minutes. If you're tuning in, give me those emojis, give me those hearts. Let's get those algorithms going into Facebook. Okay, let's see. Great, we're all set. So we're going to begin. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shiva. I am the ambassador for A4H and the founder of Crystal Alchemy Studios. We have a studio right here in Montreal, Canada, and this is where I teach all about crystal therapy and how we can use crystals as tools in our everyday lives to help us on our journey. And before we begin, just a disclaimer, nothing I'm sharing here is meant to be used as a medical way to help you. This is not medical advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. So disclaimer is out there and we can begin. So today's video is all about crystals and children. So we know that children are off the bat super sensitive. A lot of children already are so in tune with their own vibration. They're already in tune with so much of the energy around them, and they're very much connected to that little inner voice that they have in their body already, right? So we know children are really quick to say to us yes when I want something, no when they don't want something. They're extremely vocal because they feel very confident being able to express themselves in how they feel. And unfortunately, us bigger people have a tendency sometimes to quiet down those little voices when they're being expressive. So over time, they don't express themselves so much. So I've learned personally with my own son, who's now turning 12, that creating a space for him to be able to express himself and talk through that is very important, and it really helps through their developmental phases over the years. So today we're going to look at 3 crystals that you can use to help your children work with their emotions, work with their energy, and be able to help express themselves. So we're going to begin right now with the Jasper. So I've got a lot of little Jaspers here, if you can see them. My big bowl of Jasper. So Jasper is known as a supreme nurturer. And Jasper, this one is actually in a whole bunch of little tumbled pieces here. They look a little brown, but these are the yellow ones. And apart from being the supreme nurturer, with its color being yellow holding the frequency of working through your solar plexus, helping you be able to have more confidence and be able to express yourself. So yellow is actually a really good crystal for children to play with, and it doesn't even come just in Jasper. You can have calcite, you can have citrine, there's bumblebee Jasper. That's a really good one. I don't have one here with me to show you, but today I have the yellow one. So yellow Jasper is a really good one for them to work with. And it's actually a really good crystal for protection and to being heard. And if you can allow me to share a story with you, my little niece was over a few weeks ago, and she's 1.5 years, so she's not really talking, she's babbling a lot, and she's trying to express herself a lot without really words coming out much. And she came into my office and she was just automatically drawn to the crystals, but the ones she was drawn to was these yellow tumble jaspers. She wouldn't go through any of the other ones. She would go straight to these tumbles. She would pick up a whole bunch of them and just start playing with them. And I found that to be very interesting because she's at a phase in her life where she's actually wanting to express herself, to become vocal, to become heard, and to become understood. And being in her babble phase right now of only a year and a half, it's not really coming out too clearly. So it's really interesting to see that naturally and instinctively, she was able to gravitate herself towards this yellow jasper. Another crystal to help children be able to express themselves or see where they're drawn to would be the fairy stone. Now, the fairy stone is actually a very interesting crystal. They're not found everywhere, but you actually can find them here in Quebec. Fairy stones are... I couldn't even begin to speak about fairy stones. They're just so amazing to work with. Their energy is very earth-like and it's very grounding. A fairy stone is a star-like crystal, and you see, automatically it just brings you into that super, super calm phase, and it just automatically helps you calm down. So if you have a child that's very active, that has a lot of energy, and you're trying to help him calm down, you can have him hold a fairy stone. This one I got from a friend of mine. It kind of looks like an elephant, if you can see that. And this one's a really big piece. I actually have an even bigger piece right here that I'd like to show you. This is another really big fairy stone piece. And again, you can actually find these here in Quebec. Something like a fairy stone this big would be really good to put your foot on. So if the child is feeling a little bit excited, has a lot of energy, you can just put the fairy stone on the floor and just have the child put its feet on it and take a few breaths. I'm telling you guys, the second children connect to crystals, their whole body just kind of gives into it and their whole energy completely shifts. And I'll share with you a little later how we can actually help our children speak through their emotions as they have these. Now I have here a whole bunch of fairy stones. I can't talk highly enough of crystals. I mean fairy stones. I just love them so much. A fairy stone is also another really good crystal to put in the bed of your child. So if your child is feeling really restless in the evening, he just or she cannot wind down, if you take a few of these fairy stones and you place them over their body, so you could put one right behind their head, you will put one behind their neck, you could put one on each side of the shoulder, behind or under each hip bone. You could put one then behind each knee and at the feet. I'm telling you guys, instantaneously the child will feel like feeling grounded. Because these stones are found by the water, they are created through water, there's a whole process that goes with them. They're very, very, very earth grounding. They are so soothing. They really help with a lot of the fears and anxieties that children can be going through. Oh, hi Natalie, thanks for joining in, guys. So these crystals are really, really, really good to put under a bed for a child to help that child deal with any form of anxiety or restlessness. Another crystal that's really good for children would be the selenite. I've got a big piece here and I've got a smaller piece here. Now, if you saw my video a couple days ago where we talked about dealing with our emotions, I spoke about the selenite. The selenite is a very, very cleansing crystal. It works so well with all of the energy centers of the body. It carries such a pure energy. And when you give this to a child, again, you will instantly be able to see the child connect to it. Now, guys, let's disclaimer, crystals are not here to fix anything, you know, they don't have some magical ability, but they carry a higher vibration. And us being already vibrational beings, it elevates us and it brings us higher on that vibration. This is not things that I've made up. These things have, I mean, not scientifically been tested, but a lot of doctors who have been in the medical field, who are now more in the metaphysical field, have all spoken highly about the vibrations of crystals and being able to use them and noticing a huge difference in your vibrational being, in your feelings, And when our feelings shift, our attitudes, our behaviors, our reactions, they all end up shifting as well. Hi Maureen, thanks for joining in. So that's another really good one to have around. Now, selenite, when a child gets really, really emotional, having him hold a selenite and having him breathe through the process and express himself is so good. I know that when my son's great-grandmother actually passed away not too long ago, he didn't really process it very well at the funeral, but a couple of days later when he was home, he just couldn't hold it in, and he started to, you know, let it go and really express himself. And just by holding the selenite, and as he was crying through it, I was just rubbing it over his body and letting him express what he needed to express. You can just feel like that. And you don't even have to try, guys. You don't even have to tell the child how to react, how to guide, how to move. It's all instinctual. And just in the presence of these crystals, you will notice that child just completely surrendering to what they need to surrender and process that. So selenite is another really, really good one. My final and favorite crystal that I would say would be great for children would be an amethyst. I've got a couple pieces here that I'd like to show you. This is a bigger amethyst, also more of a palm stone, more of a massage stone. This is good to have the child play with. Again, these are all crystals to allow the child to be able to express himself and speak. So by holding an amethyst, it gives them that sense of confidence. It gives them that sense of concentration. I've got a story with the concentration one actually with my nephew. Here's another amethyst. This one is more of a point. And this is actually one that I had made for my nephew. This is actually the one I gave him. It just broke, so I fixed it again for him. So something very simple. You can just take a little copper wiring. If you guys can see it here. I'd put him on a pendant for him, and he just wears it around his neck. And when I had made it for him, and he had come back over, I said to him, so how's it going? How do you feel with the amethyst on you? And he said, well, Shiva, actually, when I was in class, I was having a really hard time concentrating. And since I've been wearing the amethyst, I find my concentration is a lot better. And also when I go home and I have to do homework and I don't want to do it, I feel the crystal telling me that I should be studying and I should concentrate more because it's going to help my grades get better. And then my teacher will be proud of me. You know, guys, kids are they're so simple. They're so open to so much, and they're so expressive. And if we really just give children permission to be able to express themselves, to be able to talk, to be able to go through the motion of releasing without judgment, you'd be surprised how much you can learn from your children and exactly what they're dealing with at the moment. So how do we get our children to work with crystals? Well, very simple. You just bring them to the floor. So if you've got crystals, now these are some of the few that I have, you know, the list is not secluded to just these crystals. There's a variety of crystals that children can play with. And the biggest guide to choosing those crystals is the child itself. The child will automatically know what it's drawn to. The child will automatically gravitate to the crystal that it wants and that it needs. And here's the fun part about it is that when you tell a child to hold a crystal, all you have to do is say to the child, close your eyes, hold the crystal in your hand and take a deep breath. And then all you have to say to the child is, how does the crystal make you feel? What does the crystal want you to know? These two simple questions are going to show you so much about your child. I know, for example, I was working with one child whose parents had told me that the child was dealing with confidence issue, was dealing problems with being able to stand up and talk in front of a class, and was feeling a lot of tension in the body. So all I did was ask the child, how does the crystal make you feel? And the child said, well, the crystal makes me feel very calm. And I said, what does the crystal want you to know? And as the child closed its eyes and it started to feel what the crystal is saying to this child The child said, the crystal says, I need to feel more confident. The crystal says that it's going to be okay for me. And the crystal says that I need to calm down and that my body needs to relax. These are words that were expressed from the child. There was no prompting, there was no pushing, there was no bringing up any issues. It was just allowing that child to be able to connect with what it's feeling and to be able to express itself. These are things that all parents can do with their children, whether you have a crystal or not. So just creating a very safe environment for your child and letting that child tune into their body and be able to express how they're feeling without you judging them. The most important thing here is not for you to judge what the child is saying to you. What's important here is for you not to try to bring the direction of where all of this conversation has to go with the child. And it's not our place to tell that child in the moment whether the child should be feeling this feeling or not. So if the child is saying to you, I'm feeling very sad, it's not for us to say, well, honey, you shouldn't be feeling sad. It's for us to say, well, what does sadness want to say to you? If sadness had a color, what color would sadness be? And if sadness was somewhere in the body, where is sadness in your body? And these children will be able to show you right there where they're feeling all of this. And then how do we help them process this? This is the really, really fun part, and it works all the time. I do it with my child, I do it with his cousins, I do it with children, some children that I work with, and this works so well. So I'm just going to show you an example. Let's say this child is having a bad day and it's holding a feeling somewhere in the body. So all you have to do is say to the child, close your eyes and take a deep breath, or if the child wants to keep its eyes open, let it keep its eyes open, no problem. And you say to the child, okay, so where are you feeling this discomfort in the body? Where are you feeling this I'm not feeling good? And let's say the child says to you, I'm feeling it right here in my throat. Good. So now we say to the body, thank you, body, for letting me know that your throat is not feeling so good. Now, if the throat can say something to you, what would the throat say? Sometimes a child has something to say, sometimes a child will say, I don't know. And that's okay. Then you say to the child, okay, so if this feeling had a color, what color would this be? Most of the time, the children will say a color. Then you can just make a mental note of it and go see exactly what this color represents. Then you can ask the child, so if this feeling had a shape, what shape would this be? The child will give you a shape. And then you start talking through the child, with the child. Okay, so now it has this color and it has this shape. Throat. Now, are you ready to release what you're feeling in the throat? Most of the time, the child would say yes. And you say, good. Now you're going to tell the child, so we're going to take a box and we're going to take that feeling and we're going to put it in the box. And then we're going to seal the box. And then you let the child seal it in any which way it wants. So you could say maybe it wants to tape it, maybe it wants to wrap it up in foil. Just let the child use its imagination to taking that feeling, putting it in that box, wrapping it all up. And then we say to the child, okay, now we're going to make that feeling explode. How do you want to destroy it? Do you want it to be destroyed in a big bomb? Do you want it to go in the water and sink down? Do you want to just break the box into little pieces? And the child will tell you exactly how it wants to destroy that box. And all you have to do is hold space for the child. That's all you have to do. And then the child then will start to break it apart or blow it up. My son loves to blow it up. He just all kinds of blowing up all over the place. So when that child finally either breaks it, blows it up, drowns it, whatever he wants to do, breaks it to pieces, you're holding that space for him or her to do that. Let the child take as long as the child needs. You're not here to rush a child. You're here to hold that space for the child. Once that's done, the child is going to feel lighter. Then you tell the child, take a deep breath and let it go. And then you're going to tell the child, okay, now bring in that light. You're going to tell the child, imagine a golden light, and you just want to bring it into the body, right in your throat, and you're just going to let it fill up like you're pouring water all in your throat, or you're painting it. Let the child use its own imagination and to clear that up for himself. And then when it's done, you take a deep breath, you let the child take a breath, and then the child is gonna completely shift its energy. I'm telling you guys, this stuff works so well. And that would be it. So these are really simple techniques that you can use with your children. The crystals that we shared, again, we had the amethyst, that's a really good one for the children. We had the selenite, that's another really good one for the children. We had the super amazing fairy stone that I can't just get enough of. That's a really another good one. And then we have the jasper, which is a natural, the nurture stone. So that's a really nice good one too, to help them be able to express themselves. So that's it, guys. If you did enjoy this video, I would love to hear it. You can make a little comment for me, give me some hearts. If you're watching the replay, just let me know that you're watching the replay. And if you think this would help any parents out there share these techniques with their children, go ahead and share it with them. And I will see you guys soon. Oh, and if you have any questions, maybe I'll just open the floor if you guys have any questions. I see a few people in. Evelyn, hi Evelyn. Hi Amalia. Hi Sophie. Amazing. Natalie, Enzo, Maureen, thank you so guys for tuning in, guys. If you have any questions, I hold the floor for you. If not, then I will bid you adieu. Evelyn says beautiful. Yes, it's really an amazing technique. It works so well, you know, and the more you do it with these children, the more now they have tools and an outlet to be able to process these pent-up feelings in their body, and they just need that release. Alright guys, looks like we're done for today, so I will see you guys soon. Much love.